I'm Johnny, the founder of SXS, and we're making this video to talk about different types of projection mapping and large format projection in order to help clients understand these sometimes elusive concepts. Let's start with aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is a relationship between the width of the screen and the height of the screen. So the one that everyone knows is 16:9. A lot of videos are made in 16:9, most TV's done in 16:9, and the PowerPoint presentation or keynote presentation you're working with is probably also 16:9, so that's a really good starting point. When we talk about large format projection, we're talking about screens which are bigger than 16:9, so they might be a lot wider, or they might even be portrait where they're much taller. And the benefit of that is it's just more visually engaging for the audience. But also, when we've got a larger video canvas, we can do a thing called pipping, which is picture in picture, where we get your PowerPoint presentation and we put it in part of that screen, then the rest of the screen can be used for other things, like sponsor logos or live camera feeds. Okay, so the next level of complexity is when we start doing projection mapping. So rather than having a normal 16:9 screen or a large format screen, we might start to make a series of screens that might be different shapes. For the back of a set, we might have a series of hexagons or some squares or circles, whatever shapes. And then we map the content to only show on those parts of the stage set where the shaped video screens are. That allows us to communicate a brand look and feel or an aesthetic of a show through the format by which the video is presented. Much more visually engaging, much more on brand, and we find that guests find it a lot more curious and engaging to watch the show when it's done in that way. So the next step up from that is to go from just having shaped panels that we project onto to doing full projection mapping with some 3D. We could do a series of actual 3D cubes or even like a 3D hexagon shape which is projected onto. That gives a sense of depth, which gives a deeper perception to the way the stage is set. And in terms of video, the way we use that is we can actually map content on the different faces of those physical elements. So the net result of that is that when people are looking at this, they find it really just fascinating as to how the content's shown. The set can look bigger and deeper than it really is, and it just kind of makes people's imagination go wild as to what's going on in front of them. They just get really drawn into the show. Now the next level we can take projection mapping up to is where we create a 3D set, then we also create that same set inside a computer. What we then do is map content to interact with those shapes as though they're in the real world. For example, we might have water pouring down the set, or balls bouncing off it, or logos appearing to suck to one side then disappear around the back of another. And once we make that content, we then project it onto the physical set, and you get a whole new world of visual trickery going on stage. And the way the content is shown is just a whole nother level. So I've talked about different aspect ratios, formats of screens and projection mapping, but I feel it's important we talk about the technology that we use to do that. One of the things we use is projectors, which will project an image, which is normally about 16:9 aspect ratio. But if we want to do ultra wide screen projection mapping or large format, we can overlap the way the light merges on the screen. One projector dims down, the other one does as well, and it creates a seamless overlap that you can't see. Now doing that allows us to make images that might be 2 or 3 times wider or higher than they would normally otherwise be with a normal projector. In terms of projection mapping, the projector will often overshoot a lot of the set pieces, so the image is being projected everywhere, and then content is positioned onto those multiple different shaped screens all over the set. Hopefully you found this video interesting. Please get in contact if you want to talk about conferences or awards shows or concerts or festivals. Also check out our other videos. I've done a lot on the more technical side of event production. We'd love to hear from you.